I, severely depressed, committed suicide. After my death, I was pulled into a strange space by a mysterious force. There I learned I was the vicious female supporting character in a book, a celebrity reviled by everyone in the entertainment industry. The book said I secretly loved the male lead, often tripped up the female lead, spread rumors, and framed her, and sabotaged their relationship. Later I was forced to marry the second male lead, Hexu, and had a son with him. I stayed in the other world for a long time. Maybe fate thought I shouldn't die, so I was reborn back to 5 years ago. When I woke up, I was lying on a large bed. Looking around, I saw not the dazzling other world but my familiar room, which I'd lived in for 10 years. I patted my face hard, it hurt, not a dream. It seemed I had been reborn, back into the novel's world. Just as I found my phone to check the year, the door opened. I instinctively thought it was Hexu, so I quickly straightened the bedding and pretended to sleep. I heard soft footsteps approaching, then felt a chubby, soft little hand holding mine. I realized it was my son, Yangyang. He was sharing his life with me in his childish voice. "Mom, when will you get better?" Even though Mom might not want to see Yangyang, Yangyang really likes Mom. Then he rubbed his cheek against my hand. I slowly opened my eyes, saw the little bundle before me, and felt a pang in my heart. Just as I was about to raise my hand to pat his head, he sensed my movement, looked up at me in fright, and ran away. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sigh again. "Lingyu, look at what you've done." I turned on my phone and saw the year was 2017, I was reborn back 5 years. As I recalled, that was the year I was diagnosed with depression. But back then it was only mild depression. Later it became severe, and I committed suicide. I put down my phone. The door was gently knocked. "Miss Ling, are you feeling better? Would you like something to eat?" Miss Ling, after marrying Hexu, I never let the maids call me madam, only Miss Ling. I nodded to the maid, and soon the meal was brought in. I asked her to put it on the table by the floor-to-ceiling window. I'd eat later. After washing up, I sat in the chair and started eating ravenously. Since I'd been in the other world too long, even though I'd experienced it all and read the book, many details were fuzzy. During that time, I asked the maid about Hexu. She only said he was on a business trip abroad and wouldn't be back for a while. I noticed my son watching me from the doorway, clearly wanting to come in but too afraid. "Come here," I said. He seemed startled, then cautiously walked to my side. I tried to speak in a very soft, gentle tone. "You're turning 5 this year, right?" The child looked shocked, as if surprised I remembered his age. "Mom, in 1.5 months, I'll be 5. I was about to ask him more questions when I was interrupted by the auntie outside the door. "Yangyang, Miss Ling has just woken up. Don't disturb her anymore," she said, then turned to me. "Miss, I'll take Yangyang away now. I'm really sorry." With that, she pulled Yangyang and left. Seeing this, I didn't say much and let her take my son away, since I needed to sort out the plot myself. After a long while, I finally organized everything I could remember, including the timeline of events. I went downstairs. Only the auntie was in the living room, so I went to the children's room to find my son. He was sitting on the carpet, obediently playing with his toy car. "Baby, what are you playing with? Can mommy join you?" Hearing my voice, he immediately turned around, looked at me, and said softly, "Mommy, I'm playing with the toy car." Then he handed me the car and even gave a faint smile. Though the smile was stiff, I could tell he was trying hard. Oh my God, he's so adorable, this cute kid was actually born from me. I immediately pulled him into my arms and kissed him several times. Woo-woo, his face was so soft, smelling of milk. How could I have disliked him before? He froze again. "Baby, kiss mommy," I said again. I brought my face close to his. He looked at me cautiously for a few moments, then very carefully leaned in and kissed me. Satisfied. That evening, I searched online for a lot of information about how to be a good mother. First, spend time with your child often, like playing with toys or going to the playground. Second, praise your child frequently. Third, interact with your child as a friend. There was so much more, so I decided to start with companionship and praise. Kindergarten would start in a few days. I needed to seize this time to build momentum. The next morning, Yangyang and I ate breakfast together at the table. "Baby, today mommy will take you out shopping, okay?" Yangyang was excited, his face beaming with a bright smile. "Okay." After eating, I told the auntie and took my son out. We went to the mall. I bought several outfits for my son and several for myself. I also bought many new toys, especially cars. Finally, I took him out for dinner before heading home. Throughout, I swiped Song Hexu's card. Though I was in the entertainment industry, I really had no money. Back home, my son and I were sorting through today's purchases. "Baby, were you happy today?" "Happy." "Will you sleep with mommy tonight?" He paused, staring at me. "Mommy, aren't you disgusted by Yangyang anymore?" Hearing his aggrieved voice, my heart broke. How could mommy be disgusted by Yangyang? Mommy loves Yangyang the most. He stared at me for a long time, as if confirming I wasn't lying, then replied, "Okay, I'll sleep with mommy." In the following days, Yangyang and I got along well. I had already improved a lot in taking care of him. Actually, Yangyang takes better care of people than I do. In the morning, I half asleep heard my son whisper by my ear, "Mom, I'm going to school now, bye-bye." After saying that, he even kissed me. When I woke up, it was already noon. Auntie cooked for me, and I asked her when Yangyang gets out of school. She said at 4:30 p.m. At the kindergarten gate. A group of kids were lining up and coming out one by one. I stood among a bunch of parents and saw Yangyang, and he saw me too. He immediately rushed out. I crouched down, and he threw himself into my arms. He blushed and said to me, Mom came to pick me up, thank you, Mom." Who can tell me, why is he so cute? Mom will pick you up every day from now on. Really? Then can you also drop me off? I patted his head and kissed him again, saying, "Sorry, baby, Mom really can't get up." He nodded. "It's okay, Mom picking me up makes me very happy." At that moment, a little girl walked over, and I felt she looked familiar. After thinking carefully, I remembered she was the main couple's daughter. "Auntie, are you Song Jiaoling's mom? I don't think I've ever seen you before." I was about to answer when I heard my son's voice. "My mom is just too busy to come." On the way home, I apologized to my son again. I really missed too much of his life. Over 4 years, he grew up in an environment without maternal love. According to the timeline, before Yangyang turns 5, there will be a parenting variety show that approaches me, and the female lead will also participate. They invite me because the feud between the female lead and me is really too topical. Us being on the same show guarantees traffic. I recall I originally refused, but after hearing the female lead was going, I foolishly went along too. On the show, I neglected my son, and before the first day even finished airing, Song Hexu demanded I withdraw. Sure enough, a few days later, I received an invitation from a show called Mom in Charge. This show livestreams the daily childcare of 4 female guests, with no special tasks, just showing their daily lives to the audience. It lasts 2 weeks. The first week each guest takes care of their child alone, and the second week all 4 groups gather together. I still wanted to refuse, but they offered too much money. After asking my son's opinion, I gave a positive answer. At 8 a.m., I was still asleep, and half asleep I heard my son calling me. "Mom, wake up." After saying that, he kissed my face. I pulled him into my arms, kissed him a few times, and went back to sleep. "Mom, the show crew is coming today. If you don't get up, we'll be late." "It's okay, I'll sleep a bit more. I'll get up soon." Ding dong ding dong. "Is Miss Ling there? We're the show crew, please open the door." A few seconds later, the villa's gate slowly opened, and first a chubby little hand appeared, then a little toddler. Seeing so many people outside, Yangyang blinked his eyes and then said to them, "Come on in. Mom's still asleep, so keep your voices down, okay?" "Wow, how did you get to be such a well-behaved little kid?" one of the staff members couldn't help but say. About half an hour passed, and I still hadn't woken up, so the staff asked my son to come call me. "Mom, are you done sleeping? The show crew is already at our house." Half asleep, I heard my son's voice and jolted awake, grabbing my phone to check. Oh no, I overslept again. I leaned over to kiss my son's cheek, then immediately got up to change clothes. "Sorry to keep you waiting so long." No worries. Today was just filming a short preview, so it wrapped up quickly. The crew set up the cameras and told us the livestream would start at 8 a.m. On Monday came and the livestream kicked off at 8 a.m. sharp. While other moms were already up making breakfast for their kids, my son and I were still sound asleep in bed. I didn't need to guess, the comments about me were definitely all insults. Comments, "So irresponsible, that kid's really unlucky to have Lingyu as a mom." When the cast was announced, tons of people were already trashing me under the official post. Comments, "How can they invite someone like her? Can the show get some normal people?" Comments, "Oh God, my goddess is on the same show with her. Who knows if she'll act up and try to mooch off her again." Having lived through a past life, I've let go of these comments now around 8 a.m. My son woke up. Seeing I was still asleep, he just leaned over to kiss my cheek, then changed his own diaper, got dressed, and went to the living room to mix himself some formula. After making the milk, he grabbed a book from his room, came back to my side, and quietly read while waiting for me to wake up. I finally woke up around 10 a.m. My son saw I was awake and immediately came over to hug me. "Mom, I'll get you some water." Then he toddled off the bed to fetch it. "Mom, drink some water." "Mom, have some crackers." After seeing my son's series of actions, netizens all said they envied me for having such a good kid, though they still didn't forget to trash me. Comments, "Lingyu's so nasty, how can she have such an amazing kid?" Comments, "Just asking, did Lingyu save the earth in a past life?" Comments, "Seeing Lingyu, I don't feel so scared of having kids anymore." Comments, "Don't get your hopes up, most kids aren't that easy." Since it was almost noon, I gave my son some crackers to tide him over and got ready to cook. Honestly, I'd never cooked before. I checked the fridge, it was fully stocked with ingredients the housekeeper had prepared. I picked a few things that looked easy to make and pulled up a tutorial on my phone. Well, I admit I have no talent for cooking. I made 4 dishes, and none turned out right. My son and I stared at the messy kitchen, and I looked at him with a pitiful face. "Baby, I'm sorry, I'm really not a good mom." Actually, there was a bit of drama queen in it, but my son didn't notice and thought I was really about to cry, so he quickly comforted me. "Mommy is great, Yangyang loves mommy the most. It's okay if you can't cook, Yangyang can learn, and when I learn, I'll make yummy food for mommy." With his serious little face, it was just too cute. Woo-woo, my son is truly the best baby in the whole world. In the end, I had no choice but to take my son out to eat. After eating, we played outside for the whole afternoon, and even had dinner out too. In the evening, I wanted to give him a bath, but for some reason, he absolutely refused. Usually, the nanny bathes him, but during the filming period, the nanny wasn't around, so I had to do it. He said to me with a righteous tone, "Mommy, I'm a big kid now, big kids bathe themselves, and mommy is a girl, I'm a boy." I pinched his little cheek and said, "But baby, you're not tall enough yet, you'd have to stand on tiptoes to reach the switch, the floor is slippery, you could easily fall, and water in your eyes hurts a lot." In the end, under my insistence, Yangyang accepted my help. But his face was red the whole time, both awkward and cute. The next day, I had to take Yangyang to kindergarten. I set an alarm for 7:30 the night before, but obviously, I didn't wake up, and neither did my son, we both overslept. By the time my son woke me up, it was already 8:30, and after 8 o'clock, kindergarten counts as late. Help, I was late on my first day taking my son to school. I hurriedly packed up and rushed to kindergarten with my son. Barrage, I bet with my friend last night that she'd be late today. Barrage, haha, I bet too, but I lost. Barrage, to be honest, Lingyu really doesn't deserve to be a mom, how can she be late for this? Barrage, you've got a point, but I'm often late taking my brother to kindergarten too. Barrage, late plus 10,086. By the time we got to kindergarten, it was already past 9 o'clock. I panted and said, "Teacher, sorry, we're late." Luckily, the teacher didn't say much, just took my son's hand and said, it's okay, the child is still young, it's fine if he can't get up once in a while." I nodded and thanked her for understanding, then said goodbye to my son and left. With my son at school, I could finally relax a bit. First, I got short nail art, then went shopping, bought clothes for myself and my son, and also got some toys. In the afternoon, I went to pick up my son from school. Unfortunately, on the first day of the live stream, I ran into the female lead. Barrage, is the showdown coming, so soon? Barrage, Lingyu, stay away, get lost. Barrage, isn't she going to cause trouble again? But the scene the audience expected didn't happen. I just greeted her with a smile. The female lead, Ran, seemed surprised that I was so friendly, a flicker of shock crossing her face, but she quickly recovered and greeted me back. After that, we didn't say another word, just stared at the door, waiting for the kids to come out. At the kindergarten gate, my son and Ran's daughter were holding hands. Seeing us, they shouted in unison, "Mom," and ran toward us. I opened my arms and hugged my son. After they said goodbye, we each went home. Barrage, whoa, she changed? She used to make snide remarks every time she saw Ran. Barrage, I feel like she's different, or maybe she's always been like this? Maybe she just had a persona before. Barrage, no way, she's only acting nice because the livestream is on. It's no surprise they think that. I used to be pretty nasty, but back then I had no self-awareness, I was just the villainous set from the start in the novel. Now, I'm the reborn Yokolushiyu. Soon, Yangyang's birthday arrived. He was thrilled because not only was I there, but Song Hexu would also come back. Song Hexu arrived in the afternoon, and Yangyang waited outside early. Since it was still early, I called Yangyang in to open presents. I prepared 5 gifts, hoping to make up for what he'd missed. Yangyang was overjoyed and started playing with his new toys. The door opened, and Yangyang and I both turned to look. Yangyang called out Dad and ran excitedly to hug his leg. He picked up his son, but his gaze stayed on me. Our eyes met, and my heart raced. I hadn't seen him in so long that I'd forgotten what he looked like. But I have to say, he's really handsome. He wore glasses and a suit, with an ascetic look, a total gentlemanly scoundrel, completely my type. Barrage, that's her husband, so handsome. Barrage, another day of envying Lingyu, who gets it? Barrage, how is she so lucky? Ling, start a class. Inside, I was swooning, but on the surface, I forced calm and greeted him. He didn't speak, just walked over, put down our son, and hugged me. I couldn't help hugging him back immediately. He seemed puzzled by my reaction but said nothing. After Song Hexu changed clothes and came downstairs, I lit the candles. Yangyang looked at me, then at Song Hexu, then at the cake, clasped his hands, and made a loud wish. I hope Mom and Dad give me a little brother or sister. Well, that's my son, his wish is impressive. I was actually curious about Song Hexu's reaction. We got married because of a pregnancy, I got drunk, had a one-night stand with him, got pregnant, and was forced to marry him after netizens found out. I thought he must hate me. Sure enough, the next second he said, "Yangyang, if you say the wish out loud, it won't come true." His reaction was about what I expected, but hearing it still made me a bit disappointed. At 9 p.m., after I coaxed Yangyang to sleep, the livestream was already off. I'd streamed 5 days this week, the next recording would be a week later. I went back to the room and happened to run into Hexu coming out of the shower. He wore loose pajamas, revealing a large patch of skin on his chest, and walked while drying his hair with a towel, water dripping from the ends. When he approached me, a droplet traced down his handsome features, lingered briefly at his collarbone, then unwillingly slid off. To me, this scene was pure seduction. My heart raced faster than it had in the afternoon, my body burning. Feeling like I might get a nosebleed if I kept watching, I immediately looked away. He stood silently before me for a few seconds, and I could feel his eyes fixed on me. I thought he wanted to say something, but instead he turned to leave. I grabbed his hand. Where are you going?" He paused, then answered in his cool, clear voice, "Guest room." With that, he pulled his hand free and left. What was that? He held me this afternoon, and now he's giving me the cold shoulder. I wanted to keep him, but I couldn't tell how he felt about me, whether he liked me even a little. The next day, Hexu left for work early, but he had made breakfast. My son and I just heated it up and ate. I had to admit, his cooking was really good. After eating, my son insisted on washing the dishes while I sat on the living room sofa. I remembered that in my past life, I'd never entered his study. With that thought, I got up and headed straight there. The study was simple and plain. A desk by the window, bookshelves against the wall filled with classics and finance books. I looked around and found one book that stood out at the end of a shelf, a comic cover titled "The CEO Falls for Me." Oh my God, does Hexu read this kind of book? I took it down, flipped through casually, and stopped at a page. There was a small photo tucked inside. I picked it up. Isn't this me? This is me, right? I thought hard. This was from my high school days, wasn't it? Back then, I had bangs, but how did he have my high school photo? Oh, and this book, could it be mine? I used to love this kind of stuff. Oh my God, could he have a crush on me? After all, the book never clearly said who he liked, only vaguely mentioned he had a first love. But as the second male lead, everyone assumed his first love was the female lead. Countless thoughts raced through my mind. Hexu and I met in high school. He was in the same year as the male lead, Su Ming, while Su Ming and I were childhood friends, a year younger. Back then, my whole heart was set on Su Ming. I never paid attention to him, and he always seemed cold to me. I couldn't imagine him secretly loving me. For a moment, I didn't know how I felt. I stared blankly for a while, then casually put the book back. I decided I had to talk to Hexu. That night, after my son fell asleep, I pulled Hexu into the room. "We need to talk." His face darkened, and he spoke with some irritation. "What do we have to talk about?" After speaking, he tried to leave again, but I quickly grabbed him with both hands. He shook them off, but couldn't. "Lingyu, I've said it many times, I won't agree to a divorce." "Don't waste your energy." I was confused and spoke calmly. "You think I want to talk to you about divorce?" He gave me a cold look. "Isn't it? You brought it up 3 times this month." I fell silent. Okay, now I knew why he was so angry. After a few seconds of mental preparation, I looked up and softly called him. "Honey." He stood still, as if startled by me, but his face instantly turned extremely red, like a steamed crab. My whole body was burning too, but I still pulled him to sit beside me. "I wanted to ask you, do you really like me?" He didn't speak, his face expressionless. I couldn't read his thoughts, so I pressed on. "Honey, please tell me honestly." Sure enough, no man can resist the title husband, especially one who might still like you. After I said this, Hexu nodded at me. "When did it start?" "High school." He hummed in agreement. I asked him more details, and he spilled everything. After listening and summing it up, he was just a secretive romantic. Since that confession day, I noticed Hexu had changed. He came home much earlier after work, even bringing flowers. "Dad, why are you home so early today?" Hexu crouched down, patted Yangyang's head, and stuffed the roses into his arms. Go, give the flowers to Mom. Little Song Jiaoling was very happy. He hugged the flowers and ran excitedly to me. He leaned close to my ear and said, Mom, is Yangyang going to have a little brother or sister soon? Hearing this, my face flushed. I looked at Song Hexu walking toward us and felt even hotter. Actually, these past few days, Song Hexu and I had still been sleeping in separate rooms. After all, feelings need to be slowly nurtured, let nature take its course. Soon it was time for the show's livestream again. This time, 4 guest groups were living in one building. The residence was provided by the production team. Song Hexu cancelled his morning work to send us there. When we arrived, 2 groups were already there. Seeing me get out of the car, they all came out of the house. Hello, I'm Lingyu, and this is my son. Hello aunties, I'm Song Jiaoling. One of the actresses immediately said. Hello, aren't you going to introduce the gentleman beside you? I looked at Song Hexu and said. This is my husband. He seemed to appear in the last livestream too. Barrage suddenly remembered, when Lingyu revealed she was married and pregnant, netizens tried to find out who her husband was, but never could. Barrage, for your info, this is the CEO of Yuan Technology. Barrage, another day of envying Lingyu. When will I meet someone like this? After my son and I said goodbye, Song Hexu left. Soon, Yuan and her daughter arrived. At that moment, I was holding my phone, watching our livestream. Bullet comments, although Lingyu seems to have changed a lot, I still don't want Ran getting close to her. Bullet comments, +1. Toward you Ran, I felt nothing much, just guilt over past actions. Those weren't what I wanted. I couldn't break free from those settings, but it was still me who did them. Later, when the show crew assigned tasks, I ended up washing vegetables with you Ran. The 2 kids washed vegetables over there, while you Ran and I watched from chairs, saying nothing. Sorry for what I did before, I spoke first. She was startled, not expecting me to say that. Glancing at me for a moment, she said, it's fine, nothing serious anyway. I nodded, thinking, true to the heroine, so magnanimous. In the following days, you Ran and I became friends. On the show's final day, Song Hexu came to pick us up. Seeing Song Hexu arrive, Yangyang bounced over. Song Hexu lifted him into the car, then turned to take my hand. Opening the passenger seat, a bouquet of red roses sat inside. He handed them to me. In the car, holding the red roses, I asked him, you always give these, how do you know they're my favorite? He said nothing, just glanced at me. I lowered my head and smiled. Unspoken, he'd had a crush on me all along, so of course he knew what I liked. Don't laugh, but after a few days apart, I kind of missed him. That evening, when he headed to the guest room again, I pulled him back. He looked at me, puzzled. I lowered my head and whispered, should we help our son fulfill his birthday wish? The words barely left my lips, I was instantly pulled into a firm embrace, breathing quickened, soft lips slowly pressed close, I couldn't help but tremble. After the kiss ended, he rested his head against mine, panting slightly, warm breath brushing my cheek. He lifted me and walked toward the bed. I regretted it. If I'd known no matter how much I begged or pleaded later, he wouldn't let me off, going at it again and again, I'd never have kept him. Waking up the next day, my whole body ached, I couldn't even get out of bed. Our son, after breakfast, seeing I hadn't gotten up for so long, came to find me. He touched my forehead, concern on his face. Mom, are you sick? No, I'm just tired and want to rest a bit more. I pulled him into my arms, and he obediently let me hold him. Soon, Song Hexu entered with food, sitting beside me to feed me. Still sore? I widened my eyes instantly, glancing at our son. He's asleep, Song Hexu said. My face flushed again. How could he ask that so seriously? I'm fine. Sorry, I'll be more careful next time. Ugh, does he have no shame? After the show ended, I found my Weibo followers had surged. Many comments read, I'm hooked, turns out Lingyu is really good too. Could you share more about your family life in the future? I'll miss Yangyang so much. After seeing these comments, I casually posted a photo of my husband playing with our son in the sunset. Instantly, a flood of comments poured in. "Aw, the sister posted on Weibo. Boo-hoo, so happy. Is there a chance that Yangyang is my son? When will you be returned to me? Hello, I'm a student, give me Yangyang, thanks. If not, I'll take him." Not long after, I really got pregnant. In my second trimester, I took my son out while Hexu was away. My son and I were strolling through the snack street. Usually, Hexu didn't let us eat these, especially after I got pregnant. Before long, Hexu caught us. I smiled and pulled his hand. "I promise, I didn't eat. I just came to look and satisfy my craving." Yangyang chimed in, "Yeah, Dad, we didn't eat." Then Hexu asked, "Yangyang, was the stinky tofu good?" "Delicious." A clear, childish voice answered loudly. Realizing what he had said, Yangyang immediately covered his mouth. "Oh well, my son is still young after all." I shook Hexu's hand and coaxed. "I only ate a little bit," I pouted, as if I would cry if he said more. Hexu was helpless. He looked at us and said, "Next time you want to eat, tell me. If it's something we can make at home, I'll make it for you." My son and I nodded vigorously, indicating yes. On the long street of the market, as the lights came on, our family of 4 slowly walked home.